today's top boxing news.
Ow! Okay, we'll start with this. Well, this past weekend, the reigning WBA featherweight champion of Mexico, Erica Cruz, once in action against Jelena Marjanovic for the second time, and she beat her for the second time. Beat her the way I thought she'd beat her. Post-fight, she was interviewed by Claudia Trejos. We got right to the point. She asked her about facing the winner of Serrano versus Mahfoud. I have to be honest with you, I didn't really like Erica Cruz's answer, and it didn't inspire a lot of confidence in me personally, that Erica Cruz really wants the winner of Serrano versus Cruz. She first mentioned Germany's own, Nina Meinke. Nina Meinke, who was in action earlier this year in April, she dropped a decision to Sarah Mahfoud. That was in April. She has since rebounded off the loss in July, and she's set to return to action in October against journeywoman Karina Smallenberg. The name of Nina Meinke being mentioned seems strange to me because Nina, good little fighter that she might be, she's not the kind of fighter that any champion in the featherweight division should be calling out. And the fact that Erica mentioned her told me everything I needed to know about how she feels. Because it's not like Claudia Trejos mentioned her, it's not like Claudia Trejos brought her up, Erica brought her up. Nina Meinke is a southpaw the same way that Amanda Serrano is a southpaw, though she's nowhere near on Amanda's level. She's not as experienced as Amanda, and she's not the puncher that Amanda is. Erica likely wants to take on a southpaw as some form of preparation for what could be a Serrano fight in the coming year, but I don't think she feels ready to take Amanda on straight away. She doesn't want Amanda to be her next fight. Amanda herself is supposed to be returning to action later on this month against Sarah Mahfoud in their unification match. On the undercard of Joe Joyce versus Joseph Parker. It's a good little card. Most people are expecting Amanda Serrano to make it through that fight. Most people that are familiar with Sarah Mahfoud and most people that aren't. Look, Sarah's a good little fighter, unbeaten champion, but she's not on Amanda's level. She isn't. In all likelihood, Amanda is going to level Sarah Mahfoud. Erica Cruz knows that. Erica Cruz doesn't want to face Amanda Serrano straight away beyond that fight. She doesn't want to fight her next. That's why she's bringing up Nina Meinke, the kind of fighter that no champion really should be calling out. You're calling her out to do what? To gain what? What do you get out of fighting her? If you think that I'm jumping to conclusions, consider that Erica Cruz was already offered the Amanda Serrano fight before, and she walked away from it. Yamilet Mercado, her countrywoman from Mexico, a super bantamweight, she ended up standing in Erica's place because Erica didn't want the fight. Reports indicate she wanted unrealistic money. This was confirmed by boxing scribe Dake Jonovan. We talked about it here on the channel months ago. Erica Cruz didn't want to unify. She didn't want that fight. She didn't want it then, and I don't get the sense that she wants it now. She wants to nurse that alphabet title for as long as she can, and for my money, she seems to want to put distance between herself and the winner of Serrano versus Mahfoud because she, like many, expects that it's going to be Serrano that emerges the victor. What do you think she's running from? A bad style matchup is my guess. Erica Cruz, at her best, is a come-forward, mid-range to inside pressure fighter, a volume puncher, and it just so happens that Amanda Serrano has all the ingredients to beat her. Yeah, Erica Cruz might have been able to overwhelm Melissa Esquivel and Jelena Marjanovic, fighters who didn't have the speed and the sharpness, the swiftness in those feet, the snap in those punches, the power in those hands to keep her off, but
Amanda Serrano's a different gravy.
Erica knows it. Erica knows that Amanda, unlike those fighters, she can assert herself in the pocket. She's a more accurate puncher than anyone she's faced before, perhaps the most accurate puncher in the women's featherweight division, with more artillery, more raw power than any of them, more raw power than Erica Cruz. And she can manage the distance a hell of a lot better than any of them whilst inflicting damage. You go standing right in front of her trying to let the fists fly, she's gonna fold you up like a lawn chair. That's what she did to Daniela Bermudez, a volume puncher, a pressure fighter who moved up in weight for that fight, and she found out quickly. You don't square up to Amanda Serrano. Erica Cruz could be a handful for a lot of different featherweights that are out there, a lot of different fighters, but she's tailor-made for Amanda Serrano. Amanda has everything she needs to beat her, and not just beat her, perhaps knock her out, because Erica's not a back foot fighter. A stick and move, stay on the outside and jab kind of fighter, far from it. Erica Cruz is a come-forward, aggressive pressure fighter that fights out of the southpaw stance. Those are normally advantages for Erica, but she'd have no advantages with Amanda because Amanda's a southpaw. She's not just a heavy-handed puncher. She can box. She's got speed. She's got athleticism. She has Erica Cruz's number, and Erica knows it. If you charge Amanda and try to stand right in front of her, let those fists fly, she's going to counter everything you throw and hurt you. If you try to lay off and try to fight off the back foot, she's going to be the one applying pressure, and she's still going to hurt you. That's what Yamilet Mercado did, and all that did was buy her time. Yamilet Mercado, who's normally a come-forward pressure fighter, she decided to switch it up a bit for the Amanda Serrano fight, spent more time on the move than fighting in the pocket, and all that did was buy her time. She still lost wide on the cards. All that can do is buy someone like Erica time. She's not good enough on the fly to win the boxing match. She doesn't have that kind of boxing acumen. So Amanda's goal of unifying this entire division and becoming its undisputed champion could prove difficult, because I don't get the sense that Erica Cruz feels ready for that fight. Nope. Erica still looks and sounds apprehensive to me.
Hey, Tyson Fury here, aka the Gypsy King, the WBC heavyweight champion of the world, as you can tell. I think you've all heard that I'm going to be fighting soon, within the next few months. And I think that before I announce an opponent, that I need to do this, just in case. Anthony Joshua, I know you've just lost a fight to Usyk and you're boutless at the moment. And I'd like to give you an opportunity to fight me for the WBC Heavyweight Championship of the World and the Lineal Championship in the next few months. You're coming off a 12-round fight, so you're match fit, you're ready. I'm giving you a few months' notice. If you're interested, I'll send you the date over and we can rumble a Battle of Britain for the WBC Heavyweight Championship of the World. Let me know if you're interested. If not, I will select another opponent. Thank you very much, and good night. Boom.
Yeah, you might have heard already that Tyson Fury, in his fashion, has issued out what's supposed to be an official call-out to his countryman and rival, domestic rival, Anthony Joshua, for proposed fight in December. Given the timing of the call-out, you can see that Tyson Fury is being quite opportunistic. Anthony's coming off a loss.
Why would you want to fight him?
Because he's coming off a loss.
That's why you'd want to fight him. He's coming off a loss, and he's still worth a lot of money. Perhaps more money than you are.
You're not going to get site offers from Abu Dhabi, the UAE, Saudi, Qatar, just any of those places. You're not going to get site offers for Tyson Fury versus Manuel Char.
No.
Tyson Fury versus Agit Kabayel or any of those guys.
No.
Hell, we're still wondering who's going to put up the money for the undisputed heavyweight title fight between Tyson Fury and Alexander Usyk, who has stated quite clearly he's going to take the rest of the year off to be with his family, and they'll do the undisputed fight next year.
Bob Arum, at the beginning of last week, quite clearly stated that they're looking to do the undisputed title fight between Usyk and Fury at the beginning of next year in February.
He said this before Tyson Fury took to social media and started bombarding people with endless videos, endless nonsense.
And now Tyson Fury seems to be deviating from that plan, deviating from the plan to do the undisputed fight early next year. If he's in action in December,
there's no guarantee he'll be able to return to action in February for the Usyk fight. Though if I'm being honest, I don't think he values the Usyk fight as much as he values the Joshua fight. Because let's be honest, Usyk might have beat Anthony Joshua, but he's not the star that Anthony Joshua is, doesn't have the following that Anthony Joshua has. So in all likelihood...
Wait a minute, so he wants to fight Anthony now? Is he still going to fight him for free like he said before?
Oh, come on, that's bullshit. Tyson Fury's lying.
How do you know he's lying?
His mouth is moving, that's how. This is either a veiled attempt to make Anthony Joshua look bad and garner press for his next fight, his very next...
This could all just be about garnering press for his next fight, which could be against a guy like, I don't know, Manuel Char or Agit Kabayel. Somebody inexpensive, somebody low-key.
Somebody that's got as much of a profile as Tom Schwartz did, Otto Valine, guys like that, guys you never heard of.
You call out Anthony with no real expectation of seeing the fight done, given the obstacles you'd have to overcome in order to do this fight by December.
There's enough needs sorting between Anthony Joshua fighting exclusively on the DAZN platform and Tyson Fury fighting on BT Sport over there in the UK, Top Rank and ESPN here in the United States.
The details have to be ironed out. The details, they do have to be worked out within that time frame.
If you really want to do this by December, because there are promotional issues and platform issues, foreign rights issues, as well as financing the fight.
Who's going to pay for it? BT Sport? DAZN? Matchroom? Queensbury? Who's footing the bill?
Who's going to pay for the fight? Who gets the UK rights, where they expect to make the most money from the fight at the box office? Who's going to get those rights? You're telling me there's not going to be an issue there between the DAZN platform and the BT Sport?
Foreign rights as well. Who gets the foreign rights? Who gets the rights to the fight in America? Who gets the rights to the fight in other territories?
You may not want to hear this, but these kinds of particulars and details, they need to be ironed out. And On this kind of timeline, they need to be all ironed out by December.
Do you think they can do that?
No, I don't, but we'll see. Anthony Joshua himself has answered Tyson Fury's call saying, yeah, calm. I don't do the online discussions just for clout, so if you're really about it, shout 258 management, and I'll be ready by December.
He's called his bluff, that's what he's doing. Let's see what the guy's talking about, let's see what he offers.
Because depending on what he offers, that will tell us how serious he is, or how serious he ain't. Tyson Fury seldom is ever serious, after all. He knows his audience. He knows that they're not gonna mull over the details as far as what it takes to make a fight like this. Those slack-jawed idiots.
Try explaining to them how many things need to be worked out for a fight between two competing platforms and two competing promotional outfits.
In order to get a fight like this over the line. Go ahead, you try explaining that to Joe Blow walking the street that thinks it's as simple.
A lot of people don't have the stomach for boxing's infrastructure and the business of boxing, but the business needs sorting, regardless of whether you have time and patience for it or not.
It doesn't matter whether or not you think it's important. It doesn't matter whether or not you care. It will still need tending to, and there's a lot to tend to when it comes to this fight, this proposed fight between Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury. They are on competing platforms. One of these guys has an exclusivity deal to box exclusively on the DAZN platform. Stuff like that needs ironing out.
And you want to do this by December, you say? Did you issue out a call-out you didn't expect the guy to respond to so you could make him look bad?
Because that's what it looks like. Maybe Joe Blow walking the street doesn't know enough about the business of boxing to see that this is a bit unrealistic, and
It's not a bit unrealistic, it is unrealistic.
Joe Blow walking the street probably doesn't realize how unrealistic getting this fight over the line by December is, given the myriad of issues it might face. What needs tending to? Joe Blow walking the street probably doesn't care, but whether he cares or he doesn't care, these are still issues they have to sort out. Otherwise, there ain't no fight. Fury knows that.
But Fury also knows his audience. He knows who he's talking to, and he knows that a lot of these mentally diseased fat asses are pretty fucking stupid, too.
They'll eat up whatever he says just because he says it.
Even if it's the exact opposite of what he said before.
If I had to guess what Tyson Fury's actually doing here, I don't think he's calling Anthony out for an actual fight because he, like many of us, doesn't expect one to happen by December. There's too much needs tending to, too much to sort out between the two competing promoters and platforms who don't have a good working relationship anyway. No, he's not calling him out for a fight. He's calling him out in front of everybody in order to garner press for his very next fight against an opponent he doesn't expect to beat Anthony Joshua. And when it's not Anthony Joshua, because all those issues can't be sorted out, he'll blame Joshua for the fight not happening and try to sell his own fight against Manuel Char or somebody like that.
Tyson wants a lot of money every time he gets out there.
And the problem for him is there's not a lot of guys out there that can get him a lot of money. His fans would have you believe that he sold his last fight by himself, the Dillian Whyte fight, as if Dillian Whyte isn't a box office fighter in the United Kingdom, as if he's never been on pay-per-view and sold out fights of his own. His own fans would have you believe this.
You can't sell with Emmanuel Char or an Agit Kabayel what you sold with Dillian Whyte.
You think 80,000, 90,000 Brits are going to show up at Wembley to watch you box the likes of Emmanuel Char and Agit Kabayel? No. It's the domestic rivalry that got that kind of turnout, and everybody knows that. But Tyson Fury's fans...
His fans, they're a little on the stupid side, and he knows that.
It's not that he's a genius, it's that some people are idiots.
He looks to capitalize off their ignorance.
He's not calling out AJ for a fight. He's calling him out to help sell his fight against whoever they muster up for him.
He'll try to make him look bad, and then try to sell you his own fight against Joe Blow.
If I had to guess, if I had to put my finger on it, that's what I think is going on. You could look at it that way. Or you can take it all at face value. Tyson Fury is choosing now. Now is the time that he wants to fight Anthony Joshua, and it's a very opportune time to fight him because he's coming off his second consecutive loss. Why would he want to fight him?
Because he's still worth a lot of money, that's why.
What have I been telling you this whole time? You don't get for Fury versus Usyk what you could get for Fury versus Joshua. Talented boxer that Alexander Usyk might be, he doesn't command the same audience that Anthony Joshua does, and the same corporate sponsorships, the same celebrity.
Two ways you could look at this. Either the guy's bullshitting, or he's not.
But if he's not bullshitting and he's serious, he wants to fight Anthony in December, that would then have to mean that it's Tyson Fury who's deviating from Bob Arum's plan. His plan to get him in the ring with Alexander Usyk early next year, because that is Bob's plan after all, and he said that early last week. It would have to be Tyson Fury swerving that situation, deviating from that plan.
If you box Anthony in December, there's no way you get back out there in February.
And you know what he said about the Usyk fight? He won't stand for legacy. He doesn't care about any of that. The only reason he'd fight Usyk is for the money.
That's why he demanded $500 million.
There really are only two ways you can look at this call-out. It's either Tyson Fury is calling out a guy for a fight he doesn't expect to happen, or he's calling him out for a fight that he does expect to happen, because he prefers this fight to the Usyk fight.
Neither one of those scenarios make Tyson Fury look all that good, do they?
Neither one.
If we've established that Usyk is the better fighter, the better boxer.
Not we. He established that when he fought Anthony Joshua 2 times, took his belts, and kept them. He established that. And if that is established, why is Tyson Fury calling out the man he beat?
Because Usyk said he's not going to fight him this year. He'll fight him next year.
So he's willing to jeopardize the fight with Usyk next year to fight Anthony Joshua this year? If you fight Anthony Joshua in December, if they can actually perform this miracle and get this fight over the line by December...
What, you're going to fight in December and get right back out there by February?
It's a little hard to believe, like most things Tyson Fury says. Do you remember the time he said he gave his entire purse from the Wilder fight to charity?
Do you believe that?
About as much as I believe that he's willing to fight Anthony Joshua for free. Well, he said he would a couple of weeks ago. I think his feelings likely have changed since then. What kind of person lies about that kind of stuff? That's what you have to ask yourself. The kind of person that's willing to make a baseless call-out for publicity.
I mean, if I had to guess which one of the two is true, I'd sooner believe that Fury's calling him out for publicity.
And publicity alone, as getting a fight like this done by December gives you basically 2 months to sort it all out, given how things are in the sport of boxing and how long it might take to make a fight. If I had to guess based on that, I'd say this call-out is more about publicity than anything else.
We're not talking about a lighter touch, a keep busy fight. You can schedule a keep busy fight by December, but a mega fight?
Involving 2 competing promotional outfits that have a terrible relationship, 2 competing platforms, 2 different platforms.
By December. Yeah, right.